What if I told you the difference between a 10K month and a 100K month isn't better ads or more traffic or going viral? It's better systems. I know, that's not what most marketing experts say. They'll have you chasing tactics and testing headlines and tweaking thumbnails and launching campaigns. But here's the brutal truth. If your back end is broken, it doesn't matter how good your front end looks. You'll still leak leads and bleed cash and just stall your growth. I've worked with thousands of businesses over the past decade, and the pattern is always the same. Great offers, strong ads, but still stuck. But once we fix the systems that convert attention into action, everything changes. So in this video, I'm gonna show you where 80% of your marketing budget really disappears, why your follow-up and funnel may be sabotaging your success, and the simple 3-part system that turns random sales into predictable growth before you spend another dollar on ads. Because once you understand this, you won't just get more leads, you'll finally know what to actually do with them. All right, imagine this for a second. You've got a bucket and you're filling it with water. You're working hard and you're carrying heavy pitchers of water and you're pouring them in as fast as you can. But no matter how hard you work, the water never stays there because it's constantly draining through the cracks and the holes, and it's doing this faster than you can fill it. So after hours of exhausting effort, you're left standing there, completely soaked in sweat with an empty bucket. That is most businesses' marketing. They're spending on ads and social media and SEO and email campaigns and trying desperately to fill the bucket with leads. But because there's no system to catch and nurture and close those leads, 80% of that effort just disappears. Let me give you a real story that perfectly illustrates this. A high-end resort that I consulted with last year was spending $2,000 every single month on Facebook ads. The ads were actually working great. There was over 1,000 people clicking through each month. There were hundreds of people hitting their landing pages and dozens filling out this initial reservation form. In other words, the targeting was dialed in, the creative was solid, the landing page converted well. By all accounts, this should have been a home run. But at the end of each month, there were 0 new bookings, not a single customer from $2,000 worth of ads. Now, the owner was convinced that the ads were broken, that the leads were garbage, that nobody wants to travel anymore, and he was ready to fire his marketing agency in order to try something completely different. So, we dug deeper. Were the ads targeting the wrong people? Was the offer too weak? Was the landing page confusing? Nope, not at all. The problem was way simpler and way more expensive. When someone filled out that initial reservation request asking for more information, that request would just sit there in their email inbox, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, sometimes even longer. So by the time they finally called those people back, if they called them back at all, the leads had already booked with someone else, most likely a resort that responded immediately with some kind of automated text message. More on that in just a second. That is not a traffic problem. That's not a targeting problem. That's not even an offer problem. That is a leakage problem. And here's the kicker. That exact same thing happens to pretty much every single business and agency and coach and consultant out there. Every single day. You set up campaigns, you deliver leads, you show beautiful reports with clicks and conversions, but when the client doesn't see actual sales, guess who they blame? That's right, they don't blame themselves, they blame you. That's why so many businesses fire their agency after just a couple months, even though you're technically delivering exactly what you promised. But they don't see the ROI. They don't see the phone ringing with new customers, and they don't see their calendar booking up. So whether you're running your own business or running campaigns for clients, those leaks are costing you money, they're losing you credibility, and they're losing you sleep. Anyway, back to that resort I mentioned. Once we plugged those leaks in that system, those same $2,000 ad campaigns started bringing in 5 to 10 new bookings every month. We're talking same ads, same targeting, same budget. The only thing that changed was what happened after someone said, "I'm interested." Now, most people hear this story and think we must need better ads, or maybe we should post more content, or maybe we should try that new funnel template that everyone's talking about. Maybe we need to increase our ad budget and just grind our way through. But nope, that's not the problem. That's like trying to fill a bucket with bigger pitchers of water when the real problem is that giant hole in the bottom. This is what I call the 80% waste gap, and here's what it looks like in pretty much every business I've ever worked with. On one side, you've got attention. These are eyeballs and clicks and traffic and website visits and form submissions and people raising their hand saying, "I'm interested." On the other side, you've got paying customers. These are booked appointments or closed deals or revenue that's actually hitting your bank account. And in between those two things, you've got this massive gap where most of your marketing budget just falls straight through, disappears forever. Yay, marketing! So why does this gap exist? Well, it's because most businesses have inconsistent, disconnected systems, which I appreciate sounds really fancy, so let me clear that up. Basically, you've got your website built on one platform, you've got forms going to a different email system, you've got ads managed somewhere else entirely, there's leads tracked in some random spreadsheet, there's follow-ups handled manually through your personal phone, there's appointments booked through whatever calendar app you downloaded last month. So when a lead comes in, it gets lost in this maddening, frustratingly overcomplicated shuffle. And by the time you manually move information from one system to another, that person has already moved on with their day. So yes, on the outside, it looks like you're doing marketing. I mean, you're busy, there's campaigns running, there's posts going up, there's emails getting sent, but underneath it all, the system is fundamentally broken. It's kind of like having a marching band outside of your store, making all kinds of noise to bring people in, except you forgot to unlock the door. Or worse, you did unlock it, but you put a big "back in 5 minutes" sign on it, and then you never came back. And this creates what I call marketing theater. In other words, you're performing all of the right activities, but none of them connect to create actual revenue. And here's the brutal truth. Every day you go without fixing this, you're not just losing today's leads, you're losing compounding growth, because those leads that you didn't follow up with, well, they went to your competitors, and they became someone else's customers, which means they're now referring their friends to someone else's business. So that's the 80% waste gap, and it's probably the most expensive problem you have that you're not even aware of. So the next question then is, how do you close that gap? How do you make sure that all that marketing effort turns into actual customers and revenue for your business? The answer is a system that I call the predictable client system, and it has 3 moving parts: capture, nurture, and close. Now, this is not a new system. It's also not flashy or sexy or trendy, but it works. Every single time. Let's use another water analogy. Imagine pouring water into a funnel this time, but instead of pipes underneath, putting it in all the right places, there's just the floor. So the water just spreads everywhere and totally disappears. Again, that's most businesses. They're great at pouring leads in, but they're terrible at catching them. Well, the predictable client system gives you the pipes, so here's how each part works. Part 1, capture. This is your metaphorical front door, or literal front door if you're a physical business. This is the way that people enter your world and express interest in whatever it is that you offer. Now, most businesses think they need a fancy website with 17 different ways to contact them. The phone number, and email, and contact form, and Facebook Messenger, and Instagram DMs, and chat widgets, and physical address, but that's not capturing anything. That's just confusing people. Real capture is about making it stupidly simple, just crazy easy for someone to take some specific action that moves them closer to becoming a customer. For example, a good capture might be a chiropractor that puts a one-click calendar widget on their website. So instead of having to call the office and being put on hold, people can just book their consultation appointment directly. No phone tag, no "we'll call you back," just instant booking. Another example would be a business coach that replaces their generic "contact us" form with a specific lead magnet, something like "get my free marketing audit checklist," which is going to have a higher perceived value and therefore leads to better conversion rates. Or it could be a local plumber that adds a simple text number to all their ads, like text "leak" to 555-1234 for emergency service. With the right software, this is really easy to set up, and it's way easier than trying to remember a 10-digit phone number. The key here, though, is singular focus. Just one clear call to action, one obvious next step for someone to take. I once worked with a training company that had 12 different ways to contact them on their website alone. 12. Phone, email, contact form, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, text, calendar booking, live chat, and 3 others that I can't even remember. Carrier pigeons? Smoke signals? Skywriting? All it took to fix this was just one quick look at their analytics to realize that more than 80% of their bookings were being made directly through their online calendar booking form. So we simplified all of the contact options down to just that single one, and unsurprisingly, more people booked. And sales increased, and the stress with having to check a dozen different messaging apps pretty much disappeared overnight. Now, the fancy pants psychological marketing thing we did here was removing decision paralysis. So now, instead of wondering, should I call them or email them or fill out the form, the visitors had just one obvious choice. So they just did that. Remember, confused prospects don't buy, they just leave. Part 2, nurture. This is where the magic happens, or where most of the money gets wasted. Okay, so at this stage, you've captured the lead. Someone filled out your form, or booked a call, or downloaded your guide, but then nothing happens. Or worse, someone follows up 3 days later with a generic "thanks for your interest" email. Nurture here means automated, instant, multi-channel follow-up that happens within minutes, not days. So here's what real nurture looks like. Minute 1, automated personalized text message. Something like, "Hi Sarah, thanks for requesting our marketing audit. Check your email for the download link. I'll personally review your business and call you within 24 hours with 3 specific growth opportunities." Minute 2, automated email with the promised resource, plus a clear next step. For example, while you're reviewing the audit checklist, here's a 5-minute video showing how we helped a business just like yours increase leads by 40% with 0 ad spend. Minute 5, automated voicemail drop that happens without ringing their phone. This is a pre-recorded personal message that says something like, "Hey, this is Adam. You just downloaded my marketing audit and I wanted to personally introduce myself. I've already started reviewing your website and I'm seeing some quick wins that we could implement this week. I'll call you tomorrow at 2 p.m. unless I hear otherwise. Looking forward to connecting." The real money-making secret here that I want you to take away from all this is just showing up fast. Even if it's just something simple, like an easy message that says, "Hey, got your form, I'll reach out soon." That alone puts you ahead of 90% of your competition. In fact, here's a fun fact. Harvard research shows the odds of successfully contacting a new lead drop by up to 100 times if you wait longer than 5 minutes to respond. But just think about your own behavior here. When you fill out a form or express interest in something online, how long do you typically wait for a response before you just move on? Well, for most people, myself included, if a business doesn't get back to you within just a few minutes, you probably forgot to even reach out in the first place and start looking at their competitors. Let me tell you another story. Before these automated capture, nurture, close tools were available, I had a client, a dentist, who literally paid for 5,000 qualified leads over 6 months. These were people that were specifically looking for a dentist in his area, requesting appointments through his website. I want you to guess how many of those 5,000 leads he actually contacted. Well, the answer is 0. Not a single one. He had a stack of lead forms sitting on his desk that he was going to get to. Meanwhile, those 5,000 people found other dentists. It's kind of like ordering a 5-star meal at an expensive restaurant and having it delivered to your table and then just throwing it in the trash without taking a single bite. But had these tools been available and had we installed automated nurture sequences for him, those leads would have started converting into appointments and he would have thought I was some kind of marketing genius. The best part though is that I wouldn't have had to change the ads or redesign his website or even write better copy. All I'd have had to do was just make sure that he, or the system, actually responded to people who showed interest in his services. And just like that, free money. Part 3, close. The final piece is making it seamless for someone to actually become a customer. This part isn't about high-pressure sales tactics. It's about removing friction from the buying process. All right, come closer. Got something for you that you're really going to want to pay attention to. A bold statement, if I do say so myself, that has the power to change your life if you fully internalize it. So here goes. Most businesses make it way too hard to give them money. They require phone calls to get pricing. They make people wait days for quotes. They have complicated multi-step processes that lose people at every stage. Well, that's dumb. Yep, I said it. Real closing has just 3 simple steps. Step 1, let them book. If you sell appointments or consultations or services, people should be able to schedule directly from your website or email. No phone tag. Step 2, let them pay. If someone wants to buy from you, they should be able to do it immediately. One-click purchasing, mobile optimized checkout, whatever it takes. Step 3, tell them what happens next. After someone buys or books, they should know exactly what to expect. When will you contact them? How should they prepare? What happens next? Here's the key insight. Closing isn't about convincing people to buy. It's about making it easy for people who already want to buy. If you're a small business owner, this system stops the bleed immediately. It means your marketing finally works the way you thought it was supposed to work from the beginning. Instead of just throwing money at ads and hoping that something sticks, you get predictability. You know where your next customer is coming from, and you can budget with confidence because you understand your numbers. More importantly though, you get your time back. No more manually following up with leads. No more wondering if that person who filled out your form last week was actually interested. The system handles the heavy lifting while you focus on serving your customers and growing your business. If you're a marketer, a coach, a consultant, an agency, well, this is how you prove ROI. This is how you keep clients from ghosting after a month or two. This is how you move from being seen as an expense to being seen as an investment. Most agencies struggle with client retention because they're only handling one piece of the puzzle. They're great at generating traffic or or creating content, but they can't control what happens after someone expresses interest. But when you can offer the complete system, the capture, the nurture, and the close, you become indispensable. You're not just delivering leads anymore, you're delivering actual paying customers. You're directly impacting their bottom line. This in turn allows you to charge premium prices. So instead of competing on cost with every other freelancer out there on Fiverr, you're offering a complete business solution. And you're positioned as a strategic partner and not a tactical vendor. I know agencies that have tripled their monthly retainers simply by adding nurture and close systems to their existing traffic generation services. Same clients, same workload, but now they're providing measurable business impact instead of just marketing tactics. All right. Let me be brutally honest with you. Every single month that you go without fixing this system, you're burning money. Trying to get more traffic and more leads and more attention without the right follow-up system in place is kind of like loading up your cart with groceries and paying at the checkout and then leaving all the bags sitting by the cashier as you walk out the door. Meanwhile, your competitors are getting smarter. More and more businesses are adopting automated systems like this, which means if you don't, you'll be outspent and outbooked and outgrown. But just think about it this way. If your competitor responds to leads in 2 minutes and you respond in 2 hours, who do you think gets the customer? Or if their booking process takes 30 seconds and yours takes 3 phone calls, who wins? Speed and convenience aren't just nice to haves anymore. These are important competitive advantages, and businesses that don't adapt just get left behind. Sadly, tragically even, I've seen this happen over and over again. 2 similar businesses in the same market with the same services, similar pricing, but one implements these systems and one doesn't. Within 12 months, the business with better systems is booking twice as many customers from the same marketing budget, while the other is struggling and barely hanging on. And let me be clear, this isn't about being bigger or better. It's just about being more responsive and more organized. And the good news is that you don't need a massive budget to fix this. You don't need a big team, and you don't need to rebuild your entire business from scratch. All you need is the right system, and you need to implement it now before your competitors do. Whether you're trying to grow your business or help clients grow theirs, the solution is the same. Stop wasting 80% of your marketing budget on broken systems. Stop accepting mediocre results from your advertising. Stop making excuses for why your leads don't convert, and stop believing that marketing just doesn't work for your industry. As I'm sure you know by now, the problem isn't your market, it's not your offers, and it's not your competition. The problem is the gap between interest and action. The problem is what happens in those crucial first few minutes after someone says, "Tell me more." Fix that gap and everything else gets easier and way more profitable. Your ads become more profitable because more leads convert into customers. Your referrals increase because you're actually following up with people who showed interest. And your reputation improves because you're responsive and professional. And people like that. Shocking, I know. Most importantly, your stress decreases because you finally have a predictable way to generate customers instead of constantly wondering and worrying where your next sale is going to come from. I've set up this exact system for thousands of businesses across hundreds of different industries. It works for consultants and contractors and dentists and chiropractors and agencies and e-commerce stores and coaches and restaurants, and the list just keeps going on. The specifics might vary slightly, but the principles are pretty much universal. Make it easy to express interest, follow up immediately and persistently, and remove friction from the buying process. That's it. That's the system that stops 80% of marketing waste and turns your budget into predictable customer acquisition. And if you want my help implementing this in your business for free, I've put together a complete training that walks you through everything step by step. You'll get the exact templates and automation sequences and systems that I use with my highest paying clients. Plus, I'll give you a free 30-day trial to the platform that I use to run all of this, so you can test everything risk-free and see the results for yourself. I put the link in the descriptions below this video. Just click it, enter your information, and I'll send you instant access to everything you need to plug the leaks and start turning your marketing budget into actual customers. Because the difference between businesses that struggle and businesses that thrive isn't talent or luck or timing. It's systems, and now you know exactly which system to build first. So check out the link below, and I'll see you on the inside in just a minute.